Yeah.
Sweet. All right. So, man, what's firstly, thanks for agreeing to the interview, Justin.
Sure,
Um,
man. Thanks for having me.
it's a pleasure to have you, man. Big fan. You know,
Thank you.
there's always like a bunch of renegades during any bodybuilding era, and I think you, as well as a few others like Joel and Brock, Peter Hartwig, and others like that, kind of fall into that category where you're doing your own thing and you're really
Yeah.
fine. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just fantastic to see you guys bring back classic bodybuilding, in my opinion, in
Yeah.
the way that it
Absolutely.
really should be, you know?
Yeah. Like when I look at the Australian guys, man, they are crazy. Like Pete is super humble. He's like crazy artist, in my opinion, man. And like he's doing a really good job with bodybuilding. Same as Brock and Joel, like amazing physiques. And you definitely see that they are doing their own thing. You know, they have their own style. That's what I really like and appreciate about them. They don't just copy something. You know, they try to work out something from for their own, for themselves. You know, from their own, and that's something that I really appreciate about them.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I wish somehow all of you guys would just go in one room and have a freaking photo studio together like the golden era because you guys have
Yeah,
this uniqueness about you. It's not like you look like, I mean, I've talked about how Joel looks like Arnold, but no, Joel's Joel, Brock's
yeah,
Brock, you're you.
exactly,
Peter, and
exactly,
that's what's so beautiful about it. Like, if you look back at the golden era, that's what it was like. Everybody was unique. And that's what's so
exactly,
cool about you guys. You guys
exactly.
have that uniqueness about you. It's awesome.
And that's exactly the point, man, because like when I look at today's bodybuilding, I feel like they all kind of look the same. You know, they all have the same look to their physiques.
Yeah.
And that's what I just don't really like about it. You know, I mean, some guys are sticking out, and I think we're going a little bit more back to where we have been
Yeah.
with a uniqueness that everybody starts to develop their own looks and stuff. But all in all, I kind of feel like I can see that I can see the way that people are training, you know, based on their physiques, based on the way they look. I can see the way that they are training.
Mm.
Um, you see a lot of overdeveloped delts, in my opinion,
Yeah.
and I think that takes away a lot of the classic look, you know, and that's something that I'm always critiquing about the classic physique, especially like today's classic physique.
Mm.
That the guys like have these massively overdeveloped delts. Like I really love Chris Bumstead's physique, but I think that like if he had a little bit smaller delts, he would look way better, you
Mhm.
know, because like these overdeveloped delts make the arms look even smaller, and I think that's his
Mm.
biggest weakness in a sense. Although I don't really understand why, because his insertions aren't too bad actually. Um, and I feel like the overdeveloped delts, they take a lot of the classic look. You know, they take a lot of that away from the physiques, especially in the classic physique division.
Mm.
And but I feel like it's like we're pushing this more into like the 80s style um physique development, like with Terrence being second this year. I absolutely love the guy's physique, man, and like I sometimes chat with him and stuff, and like he's also very humble,
Mm.
super cool dude. I really love his posing. Like I think in my opinion, he's the best
The
poser in
best
the world
part.
right now.
I agree.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah.
And yeah, like a lot of inspiring people out there, man.
Yeah,
A
yeah.
lot of inspiring people out there.
I think you're right. It was lacking in the early 2000s, and this kind of resurgence came, 10 to 5 to 10 years ago. It kind of just came back.
Yeah,
The need was there for classic. People were
yeah.
screaming for it, and it just came back. It's just beautiful. So
And I think that Luimarco actually did a really
yeah,
big part of this. He was
absolutely.
responsible for bringing back like golden era bodybuilding,
Yeah.
because I remember like back in the day, watched all of his videos. I
Me too.
consumed them, bro. I really I watched them. I binged them. I like every time he put out a new video. And I've been talking to Louie lately, and I've been
Really?
giving credit to him.
Right.
Yeah. And it was like really cool to talk to him. I mean, he's getting a little bit more away from the bodybuilding aspect, and but I told him like, you actually should come back. You know, you should come back and make those videos again, because that's what actually changed. I think it changed the sport back in the day, because without him, to be honest, man, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. Like the way that I look today, because I remember back in the day when I was training, and I wasn't really interested in bodybuilding. You know, like it was like, yeah, where do you want to go? Do you want to go on stage? And I was like, nah, I don't want to look that big and that huge. You know, I don't want to do bodybuilding, because it had this bad, like this bad kind of stereotype feeling about it, you know. Um, and then I watched Louie's videos, and he was like making all those golden era videos, and I was like, damn, these guys actually look really aesthetic, man.
Yeah,
I really like this. And
I agree.
I got hooked up. And then I started, you know, I started to try to find out how did these guys work out back in the day, because they all had this, they had like a similar kind of look, but they all look different, as you
Yeah.
just said. You know, they all had this similar but still different way of their physiques, like how they looked.
Hmm.
And then I started looking up, like, how did Arnold train? Like, what did he do? What did he do to develop this massive chest? You know? And then I found some pictures of him when he was younger, and actually his chest wasn't his strength. You know, I
Exactly.
was thinking like, okay, like he did it, so you can do that too. You know, that really inspired me, and I looked up all the workouts, and I actually bought his book, like from the I think I have an original copy from the 80s of the Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. So I bought the book. It's like a very thick book, and it was really expensive to get it. And it was like sealed up. It was still sealed up, so it was brand new, you know. And I bought that book, and I looked at the workouts that he did, and read the stuff, and implementing that into my workouts.
Right.
And I think that really helped to develop the physique that I have today. You know, just incorporating all those old school exercises, the way that they, or just the way that they see bodybuilding. You know,
Mhm.
it's just
But
different. It's just different.
yeah, man, there's a lot of things to be said about Louis. I agree, and I might reach out to him actually. Maybe I can
Yeah,
convince him to come back because I
I
remember
think that would be cool.
I think it was around 2007 when so I was starting to get back into just lifting back then because
Mm-hmm.
I did martial arts for since the early 2000s. Um,
That's cool.
I must have done it. No, actually, late 90s I started martial arts and I did it for about 25 years.
Oh,
And
that's crazy.
and I only got back into working out because I actually did bodybuilding in the late 80s, early 90s because I'm already in my 40s. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and
I think you look way younger though, to be
thanks.
honest.
Thanks.
I
Yeah,
think you really look younger.
it's the lifestyle of bodybuilding. Well, it's a lifestyle of
Yeah,
martial
absolutely.
arts with bodybuilding, I admit, because I just haven't stopped my martial arts. But yeah, like I did bodybuilding back in the 80s and 90s, and initially I tried, the Mr. Olympia workouts of who was it back in the day? Lee Haney, right?
Hmm.
He was reigning Mr. Olympia, and I was like, oh yeah, or Arnold was all over the mags back then, all the old retro mags, right?
Yeah,
Arnold, Lou,
yeah.
and so I do all those workouts, and of course, get nowhere. So then I gave up um, and got back into it after I read a, a great article on the 20 rep squat. And that was like the silver era methods, back before the pre-steroid methods. And a lot of the stuff there made sense to me. And I
Mm-hmm.
tried it and I blew up like a balloon. I couldn't believe it. Like I did the 20 rep squat for about a year and a half and
Mm-hmm.
I made my best gains ever. After that, I did the 5x5 and I went from 65 kilos to 97
Oh
in
wow, that's great, man.
over 3 years. It took 3 years. So 1.5 years on the 20 rep
Yeah.
squat and 1.5 on the 5 by 5. Of course, I wasn't all muscle, but I was, maybe 18-20% body fat, but just large. I mean, I was just strong and big, right? And I thought, well, if
Yeah.
bodybuilding is back then, at least, that easy to just lift heavy, get strong, um, I gave up on it, and then I did martial arts, and I only got back into it when I told you I had
Mm-hmm.
that adductor tear on my left. I had a freak accident.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had to basically recuperate because I was told I wouldn't be able to walk or jog anymore, and I had a
Yeah.
young family, and I said, the hell with that. I need to be able to. I told myself I want to have 2 kids and my wife. I need to be able to support 3 children, three people on my shoulders, literally and psychologically. And so I said, that's about 200 kilogram squat.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my goal. That's how I actually measured it. And I said, I can't walk, I can't run.
Yeah, well, I think that's a nice way of seeing this.
Yeah, and I thought I'm going to be the rock in the family. I need to be able to lift 200 kilos. So I started lifting. That's what I said, and that's how I got back into it. And Louie, but going back to
Oh,
Louie,
I love that.
going back to Louie, I started watching his videos just like you because he broke out in the mid 2000s, with his viral videos. You're back?
Yeah, the connection is real bad right now.
All right. Yeah, I was just saying, with in the mid 2005s, after my I
I
was
can hear you now.
I was just
But
saying
I just can't see you, but I can hear you, I guess.
okay.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yeah, absolutely. I can hear you. Can you see me though?
Hello? Hello, hello. Now I hear you.
Right.
Yeah, I can see you again. I don't know. I think I like actually my connection is actually pretty good.
All
So
right.
I don't know
Yeah, no,
what it
that's
is, man.
okay. Anyway, cut a long story
Yeah.
short. Because I was injured, I just revisited the old methods I used in the past to get big.
Yeah.
Of course, being now in my late 30s, I probably don't have the hormonal testosterone, everything that I had back then to
Mm,
develop as much. But basically, I used bodybuilding again to rehabilitate as I was
yeah.
trying, And again, going back to Louis, Louis really helped with all of that. Unfortunately, he kind of dropped out of YouTube. All his golden era videos. Um,
Yeah.
Influencing even what Arnold said in the Arnold Classic, if you remember, a
Oh yeah.
few years ago,
Yeah,
bubble
absolutely.
guts and all that.
Yeah. He had a big impact on the sport, man.
Yeah,
I think that's undeniable. I
yeah.
think that's undeniable. And I think people kind of didn't do him justice, when they kind of bashed him. I
Hmm.
think I think the point where it turned was with the William Bonac incident, right? Like
Yeah,
with
yeah,
that incident on the expo. I
yeah.
think people just didn't do him justice, man. He was always trying to stay away from the expos because he didn't want that kind of trouble.
Mhm.
And then at one point he goes to like 1 or 2 expos, and then this stuff goes down, and he just drops it. He's just like, I don't want to do this anymore. It's just too much drama in the
Yeah,
scene. And I kind of understand that. But I think it's still pretty unfortunate that he stopped doing the videos, um because I think he really had a good eye for
hmm,
the sport. He really knew what he was talking about, and
yeah,
I kind of miss that today. Because like some people, I mean, like I think Nick is doing a good job too, Nick Strength and Power, but I just feel like we're kind of missing someone like Louie, who
yeah,
was also bringing back like the golden era stuff, and who was kind of critiquing bodybuilding the way that it should be critiqued.
yeah. You just
Um,
said it. You just said it.
exactly.
I think Nick is too much. I mean, he's a great promoter of the sport, no doubt.
Yeah.
He's a great
Yeah.
reporter, and and he's all positive, and that's great to have in sport. But you're right. In
Yeah.
order for anything to progress, you need constructive criticism, and that's
Exactly.
Louis was very good at. As you said, he had
Yeah.
a very keen eye, and because I guess Nick, being younger with less experience, was not necessarily able to compare past eras to current.
Yeah.
He doesn't have that ability, or maybe now he does, but back then he didn't. At least when he started, Louis
Yeah.
does. You know, Louis has that
Yeah.
ability to reflect, because he comes from two different eras. He's been in two different eras. I mean, I in many ways, I feel like I can also understand Louie, because I did bodybuilding back then too, you know, so I can reflect on both eras. And although I don't do it on my channel, I just cover the history of it. I agree that, you know, someone like Louie is necessary, and there's the only way you're going to progress is by critically analyzing what is being done. Whatever it is that one does, one needs to critically analyze it to progress further. So
yeah, absolutely agree.
Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, I mean, there's so much stuff that probably hasn't been proven by science, and it will take science to prove or disprove Vince. But to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles, but how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises, and believe me, it's a brilliant program. Many people have used it. I know personally a lot of bodybuilders that have actually used it and made fantastic results with it. And of course, the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com. Now, the Pro Series of Bodybuilding, which was targeted for professional bodybuilders, contains 6 programs, each of which go for 2 months each. So it's a whole year, again, in preparation for competition. Need a bodybuilding poster for your gym or office? Then check out Ironman Magazine archive.smugmug.com for the highest quality posters on the planet. Scroll through the galleries of all the legends, including greats such as Arnold, Frank Zane, Sergio Oliva, Serge Nubret, Tom Platz, and Larry Scott, and much, much more, and select your poster now. To support your favorite YouTube channel, please visit teespring.com/stores/Golden Era Bookworm for merchandise, including t-shirts, hoodies, face masks, phone cases, and much, much more. Once again, at teespring.com/stores/Golden Era Bookworm. Become a patron at www.patreon.com/Golden Era Bookworm for hard to find books, scans of rare photos, and articles on the golden era of bodybuilding. To take full advantage of my collaborations, use code GEB20 with NSPNutrition.com and VinceGironda.com, as well as code BOOKWORM12 at OSL.com for a discount at checkout.